Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this tutorial series, we have been creating this website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now in this video, I'll show you how to create the search button over here, and when we click on the search button, we need to display the search box. So here we can see we have the search button over here at the navigation menu, and if I click on that, we have the search box displayed over here, and we can type the search term over here. And here we can see that it says escape, and if I press escape, we can see that the search box disappears. And we can click on the search button to search for that term, and we can also click outside this search box to hide the search box. And this is also responsive, so if I decrease the width of the browser window, this is how it will look on smaller screens. So on smaller screens we have a smaller width for the search input field, and we don't have the escape button displayed on smaller screens. So let's go ahead and design this in this video. Let's get started. Alright, here I'm in my source code, and we're going to add this into the single post.html file, and let's go to the nav bar. So here we have the nav bar, and if we go to our website, here we can see that in the nav bar we have the logo and we have these menu items on the right side. Now if you go ahead and add a new division over here after this menu items, and if I just name it search icon, and let's go ahead and get the icon from heroicons.com. So here I'm in heroicons.com, and let's search for search, and let's copy this icon from here and let's paste it over here. So now we have added this search icon, and let's go back to our website, and it is not being displayed, so let's add some basic CSS. So let's go to style.css file, and here at the bottom let's go ahead and type search box as a comment, and here let's type search icon SVG, and let's set the width of the search icon to, let's try 24 pixels, and I think that looks alright. But here we can see that our menu items have switched to the center. Now we want all of this to be together, so let's go back and let's go to the HTML file, and let's cut this search icon from here, and let's paste it inside this menu items division. And now we can see that everything is displayed correctly. Now on smaller screens we need to have this search icon as well, so let's go to the mobile version, and here in smaller screens we can see that the menu items are not being displayed, so we need to add the search icon separately. So let's go ahead and copy this division from here, and let's go to the menu icon division, and here let's create a container division, and let's give it a class of mobile icons container. And let's add this division inside the mobile icons container. So we have the menu icon, and let's also add the search icon. So let's paste it over here. And now we can see we have both these icons over here. So let's go ahead and display these one next to the other. So let's go over here to style.css file, and let's type @media, and let's add a max width of 800 pixels. And here let's type mobile icons container, and let's set the display to flex, and let's add a gap of 24 pixels. And we need to hide this in larger screens, so let's go back, and here let's go to the hidden items section. So here let's go ahead and add mobile icons container, and now we can see that the mobile icons are not displayed in desktop version. Right now let's start designing the search input field. So if I click on the search icon, we have this screen over here. So let's go back and let's go to the single post.html file, and here let's create a division. And let's give it a class of search container, and here let's create a division with the class of search input container, and in that we will have an input field, and let's set the type to text, and let's add a placeholder, and let's type search this website, and let's go outside this, and let's go ahead and create a button, and let's give it a type of submit, and let's add a class of search button, and here let's type search. Now on the left side of the input field we need to have this icon, so let's create a division with the class of icon over here, and let's add the icon. So let's copy the SVG, so let's copy this SVG from here, and let's paste it over here inside the icon division. Right now let's style this using CSS, so let's go to a style.css file, and right now this is how it looks. So let's go ahead and First of all, let's target the search container. So let's tap search container and let's set the position to fixed, and let's set the display to grid and place items to the center, and let's set the inset to 0 so that the left, right, top and bottom positions are set to 0. So now we can see that everything is centered, and let's go ahead and add a background color, and let's set the color to RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.8, and let's bring it to the top of all the other elements. So let's tap Z index and let's set it to, let's try 800, and let's also add a blur. So let's tap backdrop filter and let's set the blur value to 8 pixels. Right now let's go ahead and style this input field. So let's go ahead and tap search container input with the type of text, and let's set the width of the input field to 700 pixels, and let's set a border radius of 8 pixels, and let's set the font size to 20 pixels, and let's set the padding top and bottom to 16 pixels. Now if I click on this, we can see that we have this outline of blue color. So let's remove that. I'll just type search container input field with a type of text. Now let's tap colon focus and let's set the outline to none, and now we don't have the outline. And let's also remove the default border that we have over here for this input field. So let's type border none. Right now we need to bring this icon on the left side of this input field. So for that, let's go ahead and set the position of the container, which is search input container, to relative, so that we can position this icon relative to this. So let's go ahead and type search container, search input container, and let's set the position to relative. And now let's target the icon. So let's tap search container icon, and here we can see we have this division of the class of icon, and here for the icon, let's set the position to absolute, and let's set the left position to 16 pixels of the search input container, and let's set the top to 50%, and let's set the content to blank. And now let's set a width for the icon. So let's tap search container icon SVG, and let's set the width to 24 pixels. And here we can see this is how this icon looks right now. Now we have set the top value to 50%, so it starts from the 50% mark. So we also need to type transform translate y of -50%, and now it is exactly in the center. And now for this input field, we need to add some padding left so that it is displayed after this icon. So let's go to the input field, and here let's add a padding left of 60 pixels, and I think that looks alright. Now here on the right side, we need to have this text displayed called escape. So for that, let's use an after selector. So here I'll just type search container input with the type of text colon colon after. Let's set the content to escape. Now let's go ahead and position this escape relative to the search input container. So I'll just delete this from here, and here let's type search input container, and now let's go ahead and add some styles over here. So let's type top of 50% and transform translate y of -50%, and let's set the right value to 16 pixels, and we also need to set the position to absolute, and let's set the font size to 13 pixels, and let's add a padding of 4 pixels top and bottom, 8 pixels left and right, and let's add a background color of RGBA 187, 187, 187 and 0.2 for the opacity, and let's add a border. So let's tap border of 1 pixel solid RGBA 000 and 0.2, and let's also add rounded corners. So I'll just tap border radius of 4 pixels, and that's it with our escape key. Now let's style this button. So for the button, we have a class of search btn. So let's go ahead and add that over here. I'll just tap search container search btn, and let's add a padding of 12 pixels top and bottom, 24 pixels left and right. Let's set the font size to 16 pixels, and let's set the font weight to bold, and let's set the border to none. Let's add a background color of var light color, and let's add a border radius of 8 pixels. Right now let's go back to the HTML file, and we need to add all of this inside a form. So here let's create a form element, and let's cut this ending tag from here, and let's paste it over here. And let's add this button inside the form, and let's also set the width of the button. So here for the button, let's tap width of fit content, and this is how our search box looks. So everything is looking alright. Now let's quickly style the mobile version. So let's decrease the width of the browser window, and here let's add a media query. I'll just tap at media, max width of 1000 pixels, and here for the search container, let's set the width of the form to 100%, and let's add some padding for the search container. So here let's tap padding of 32 pixels, and let's set the width of the input field to 100% as well. So here let's type search container input with a type of text, and let's set the width to 100%, and let's set the font size to 18 pixels, and let's go ahead and hide this escape key from here. So let's tap search container, search input container, : after, and let's go ahead and set the display to none. And now we can see that we don't have the escape key displayed in smaller screens, and here we have the escape key displayed in larger screens. Right now let's add the functionality of displaying the search box when we click on the search icon, and when we click outside the search box it should disappear, and when we click on the escape key also it should disappear. So let's do that. Let's go to this search container selector, and by default we'll set the opacity to 0, and let's set the pointer events to none by default. And when we click on the search icon, we will add an active class to this search container. So let's tap search container dot active, and here let's type opacity of 1, and let's set the pointer events to auto, and let's add a smooth transition over here. So I'll just tap transition of all 300 milliseconds ease. So now we can see that the search box is not being displayed, and if you go to the HTML file, and if I add the active class over here, then here we can see that the search box is displayed. So now let's add and remove the active class using JavaScript. So let's go to the main.js file, and first of all let's target some of the elements. So let's target the search container because we need to add and remove the active class. So let's type equals document.querySelector search container, and we need to target the search icons. So let's type search icons equals document.querySelector all, because we have multiple icons, and let's type search icon. And now let's target the search input field. So let's type const search input equals document.querySelector search input container, and input with a type of text. And then lastly we need to target the search input container equals document.querySelector search input container. Right now let's add event listeners for all the search icons. So let's add a comment. I'll just type search icon, and let's type search icons dot for each, and let's loop through all the search icons. So let's type search icon for each of the search icon, and here let's type search icon dot add event listener, and we'll listen for the click event. And when we click on the search icon, we need to display the search container. So let's type search container dot class list dot add, and let's add a class of active. Now if we go back to our website, and if I click on the search icon, we can see that the search input field is being displayed. Let's also add a cursor of pointer for this icon. So let's go back over here, and let's go to the search icon. So here let's tap search icon, and let's set the cursor to pointer. And now we can see that the search input field is being displayed. Now we need to hide this when we press the escape key. So let's go back, and here let's type document.add event listener, and let's listen for the key down event, and here we get some value. So I'll just call it E, and here let's type e.key equals escape. So if you press the escape key, then this will execute. So let's type search container dot class list dot remove active, and we'll also clear the value of the input field. So let's type search input dot value equals blank. Right now let's click on the search icon and we have this input field. Let's press escape and it disappears. Right now let's go ahead and add some value over here and let's see whether it clears. So let's escape and let's go back, and the value is still there. So let's go back and let's see what's the problem. And the search input, let's go to the search input, and here we have a typo. We don't have the ending single quotes, so now it should work. Let's go back and let's click on this search icon. Let's type something over here and let's press escape, and now let's go back and here we have the input field displayed. So everything is working all right. Now when we click on the search icon, we should automatically have the cursor displayed over here so that it is easier for the user to type something over here. So I think we don't have a padding at the right side, so let's add a padding over here as well. So let's go back and let's go to the input field, and here let's add a padding right of 70 pixels, and I think that looks all right. Right now let's go ahead and focus on this input field when we click on the search icon. So for that, let's go back and let's go to the main.js file, and here for this event listener, let's also add search input dot focus. And now if we click on this search icon, we can see that we already have the focus on the input field. Now the last thing we need to do is when we click outside the search input field, we need to hide it. So let's go back and here let's add an event listener. So let's type document dot add event listener, and we'll listen for the click event, and let's create an arrow function over here, and I'll just type E for the event that we get. And here let's add an if condition, and let's type if e.target.closest. Now this will check whether we have this selector. So let's type search input container, and we also want to select the search icon. So let's type e.target.closest search icon. So when we don't click on any of these elements, we need to remove the active class from the search container. So here I'll just type return, so it will not do anything when we click on these two elements. And here let's go ahead and type search container dot class list dot remove, and let's type active over here, and let's set the search input value to blank. Right now let's see whether this works. So let's click on the search icon and we have this input field displayed over here. Let's click somewhere outside and it disappears. And if we click inside this input field, we don't have any problem, it doesn't disappear. But if we click outside, it disappears. So everything is working all right. Let's check out the mobile version, and let's click on this search icon. We have this input field displayed, and everything is working all right over here as well. So that's basically how you can add this search icon and search input field to your website. Alright, so that's basically it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below, and if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.